Today we're talking about routines. Waking up during the day, going to bed. How does it affect us? How does it help us be productive in our day-to-day lives? Kind of bouncing some ideas around. Dylan is out, but Conrad's here.
Hilton's here.
George is here.
And we don't have a guest today.
Yeah, we got a time off from guests somehow.
Not that we don't love you, we love you all. It's just
Yeah.
that sometimes you just like to be among us, you know?
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, no, that to be honest with you, I had been so busy that I forgot to invite. Even though I had like 4 people say, "Hey man, I want to be on your podcast," and instead of like, "Hey, why don't you come next week?" and I forgot. I
Yeah.
was like, okay, let me look at it and see if there is somebody next week, because I didn't know if we had a guest arranged or not. And then and here we are, we don't. So
And that's totally fine. I know you had brought it up too, Hilton, when we went to go grab some water, some beverages. You're like, gosh, I'm tired. And I've been exhausted too. I haven't been sleeping well. And it probably goes into, honestly, a kind of a nice little cutaway segue into our topic of routines. Maybe I'm doing something for my bed routine that can be improved. That would help me sleep a little bit better. But yeah, I know you said you're tired. I'm tired. Old George over here is running multiple companies in different time zone and countries and whatnot. So he's exhausted as well. So sit back, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy this podcast. Relax a little bit. If this puts you to sleep, that's totally fine. You'll pick it right back up where you left off. Welcome to the Puff Drink Talk podcast.
Preparing or getting organized is important in order to be more productive, right? So just before the podcast. And I actually requested the last week to our couple therapist that we use the first 5 minutes of our therapy just to tell him how we are feeling physically and mentally before we start the session. Because I realized something, Conrad. I realized that many times I am victim of the circumstance. Something comes up and then I just respond to that. I don't think about it, and then the whole session is about something that I didn't want to talk about it because it was just a reaction. And I've just realized how many times that thing happens to us. So it worked this morning. It happened. We did the same thing. The first 5 minutes. Hey, I only slept 3 hours. I'm gonna if things get hot, I'm gonna snap. And he also get the prep for that, and then we had a very productive 55 minutes. So look at that. Because of my 5-minute prep, explaining to him how I felt, how Tamires was feeling. Right, he was able to kind of tune in how we're feeling, and I think we should be doing absolutely everything that thing. Like there's a sale. If you get a sales meeting, just ask yourself, how are you feeling right now? Did you sleep well? So what happens? Because you see, it doesn't matter if you're good in selling. If you don't feel like, as I said, like last night, I couldn't sleep well. It doesn't matter. I won't be able to deliver what I know, how I know, the way I should, because I don't know myself. I don't know myself at that second, at that moment. So I think it's not about, no, I know how to handle that. No, it's about how am I feeling today? How am I feeling now? Do you guys feel this? Do you feel that sometimes you just go with the row?
Absolutely, for sure. Hilton, were you gonna talk about it?
no, it's a good question. At the same time, it's difficult to answer, because if you think that the way I do things, because I always try and do things very relaxed, I always get everybody to sit down, kind of relax a little bit. And here in the office, I just go, hey, you guys want to smoke a cigar or something? And then we start smoking a cigar. So that gets you set up to a low, easy atmosphere, and then you can talk about something serious, no problem at all. So at home, it's a little bit different because it's not of my control, right? So my kids, they want to do what they want to do. Chris wants to do what she wants to do. So when I go, it's just thrown at me information, and I just have to deal with it. But with experience enough now, I just, don't respond immediately. And I ask the question, do you want my opinion, or do you want me just to listen? If the kids, I go like, hey, what do you want to go? You want to play? You want to, I have to do this first because or I have to eat because I'm hungry or something like that. I'm going to talk to them on that way. So and they go like, yeah, no, I want to do that. So now they come to me, hey, Daddy, once you finish that, can you come and play with me? So they kind of respect because they see the way I do things. So yeah, I think I kind of already created a segue for myself to not snap. So
Yeah. I think what's amazing is that we have kids that are starting to get into that age where it's a little bit easier for them to understand, and we can negotiate. I had that negotiating situation earlier today. Got the kids home from school. Dad, I want to go play at our friend's house. Sorry, guys. Daddy has a podcast today. I can't take you there. Oh, but you promised. You did that. No. I have my podcast. I still need to finish up work, and then I have to go to my podcast for the night. Tomorrow, we're going to be busy, but Friday, let's look at Friday. We still have to plan with the other party, the other family, to see if it is a feasible thing for us to get together. But it's not an instantaneous reaction of an answer that people want. Everyone wants an answer right away, especially the culture that we're coming into. But it's good to have that negotiation skills of calmly assessing a situation and just sitting back and listening and going like, I have my needs that need to be met, or my responsibilities in a lot of cases, my responsibilities that need to be met. In order for me to handle your request, I first have to handle mine. And then we can negotiate some type of working collaboration together. And of course, when they're younger, all kids just, no, I want to do it now. Don't tell me that. I don't want to do that. But now that our kids are a little bit older, they definitely understand. And I know it was harder for my daughter to accept it, but my son goes, okay, Dad, I know you, it's awesome to hear, like when they say, like, I know you work really hard and you have a lot of things going on, so we can wait. Those types of response are like, I guess I'm doing something right in parenting,
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's fun to see when our kids are getting to that age. But negotiation skills is very important. That's life in general.
Well, the question I would make, right? I would ask you guys is that, do you align every single day with your spouse? How the routine, the day routine is going to do? I probably, because you have kids, you are more inclined to do that. But I started doing that with Tamiris. Like, hey, I will be done by this time, so we have to do this, and this. And I noticed that every time I do that, have breakfast together. We have breakfast together. We kind of plan the day. The tendency is that almost everything works the way I plan. Without doing that, it gets to 5-6 p.m. She's doing her stuff. I'm doing my things, and we kind of we don't align very well. But if we plan, if we prep, I notice that. I'm not.
Let me throw back a question to you just before you finish that one. She works from home as well?
No. Tamiris goes to the office every single day.
Okay.
No, yeah, she has to go to the office since March 1st. Yes.
Okay. So now she's going back to the office.
Yes.
Every day. Okay.
Yeah. Because my routine now, it's quite complicated. Right. Started at 7:30 working, and some days, except for Wednesday evenings, I go to 10, 11. So I have to, when she gets home, I make sure that I have the break according to what we planned. And then we spend 2 hours, like quality hours together.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed that by planning that in the morning, we enjoy it more. That's what I'm saying. So I just want to know if during the week, not the weekend, but during the week, you guys do that, and if it works.
It's kind of interesting because I think you both have the same setup because Conrad also works from home all the time, right?
Correct.
And then the wives work now, not from home, and then I'm the opposite now. Chris right now is off work, but she was then working from home, and I was out. I mean in the business, right? So it's a little different. No, my routine is already so established, right? So the kids and they're like kung fu, church. There's so many things during the week and then they have the play dates and whatnot. So it goes like that. So the week goes as it goes, and we are already on a routine, and then everything falls into place the same way. And the only thing that changes is like sometimes I cook dinner and sometimes Chris cooks dinner, right? Now more she's cooking the dinner because she's at home because she's not and she's off work right now. She's gonna go to Brazil and spend 2 months there so that the kids pick up Portuguese again because they're losing it. So she's gonna spend 2 months so that they come back speaking fluent.
When they're going?
June the 1st.
June the 1st.
So party every day, guys. June and July.
Wow, that's awesome.
Party every day. Party every day.
For who?
Yeah, exactly. Right. Barbecue every day at Hilton's.
Look at that.
Yeah. I can bring the meat.
Let's do it.
And I feel like my routine, or I feel like mine is similar to yours, Hilton, because it's so hard to coordinate anything with the kids, especially like Monday through Friday. And it depends on the day that Camila has to work because she works 12-hour shifts. Well, I mean, technically she's supposed to work 12-hour shift, but most times she ends up working like 14, 15-hour days just because there's always extra work that she has to do, finish up, paperwork, call this, do that.
Is it like
thing.
12, 36, 12? How is that?
12 and 12, or three days she'll work 12 hours or plus more. So
And then
it oscillates. So it ends up being 5 days of 12-hour shifts one week, and 2 days off, and then the next week 2 days 12-hour shifts and 5 days off.
okay.
Yeah. So because and then lots of opportunities to pick up work if she wants to make some extra money and stuff like that.
So basically it's 80 hours in 2 weeks,
correct.
right? Okay.
It's just spread out differently than your traditional 80 hours of 2 weeks, 8 to
9 to 5.
9 to 5. Yeah, exactly.
Again, if you prepare well, it's awesome. If you don't prepare well, then you feel like you are just wasting and just working too hard, That's why, again, I'm focused on this prep thing. No matter what I do, I'm prepping that. Okay, let's get back to that.
But I have to tell you, because you had a huge change in your business, right?
Yes, yes.
So you are taking on more things on your business just because of a little change that you did, marketing-wise. So that we are already with established way, and at the beginning was a little bit hectic, you know what I mean? But then once everything fell in place, now it's already like we don't even need to prep anymore because that's what it happens, and then it's already like that. So for you had a huge change that now you look at your calendar and go like, oh heck, what do I do?
I'm not built for that. Not that much, man. I'm not built for that. I love working, especially because what I do, I confuse fun with work and with study, and for me it's kind of hard. But it's still just meeting after meeting after meeting after meeting after meeting, And I'm using AI for absolutely everything. Without AI, I wouldn't be able to deliver what I've been delivering. Like, no.
Mm-hmm.
And the more you use it, the more you ask if you should have been using it or not. You know, I'm gonna tell you something. We just thought, okay, but the number of assets, okay, but the assets we have. How many employees would a company need to manage a budget like that? Probably 5 or 6 employees, and it's just Amiris and I.
I was gonna say, are you doging it right now, where you're calculating?
No, I'm sort of doing this, you know, because you got to understand, like, you got the investments here back in Brazil. That is my business, Tamiris' business. It's about her studies. There's so many things, and then we think we can do all by ourselves. And I realized that the AI is playing a very important role there.
Well, if you can do it, just you and Tamiris, then why why bring on the added expense for something that you and her can manage?
Sleep, peace of mind, less stress, time to exercise, time to sleep better, better time to cook exactly what we want, the fun. There's so many, like family, friends, so many other things that I want to have, like 6, 7 AIs machines working for me, and then I could have fun.
Yeah.
Right now, I mean, I can't do that, and I miss. Look, it's just been only 3 months. It's gonna be the 4th month that I'm in this rhythm, right? But I miss my free time. I haven't been to Smokers Abbey for 2.5 months.
Oh
know?
Man, and you went like every single Tuesday.
Every Tuesday, just for 2
and
hours, 3 hours.
And I remember saying, "Man, I gotta do this thing because it's awesome. It gets me off, and I relax." And it became an important thing because also before you had the hip surgery,
replacement,
yeah. And then that's what got you into that state of mind that, hey, this is a safe place and it's very important to me. Is that psychological edge that you could get by going to a cigar shop? And I remember that.
Yeah, I missed today. There is this lunch with one of the guys just had this today midday. There's burgers and cigars, and I think they brought whiskey. They all got together. I said, hey, I can't. I need a rain check because I can't know that like 2 days before anymore. Before I could say, hey, I'm gonna just adjust my meetings and then I can go. Now with 50 individual clients, it's complicated to do all by myself.
I have a question, Conrad first, but a question for both of you.
No, do it. Go ahead with your question. I'm curious.
So the question is, do you control your calendar, or is it dictated by management and whatever?
My working calendar or my life calendar?
Your working calendar.
My working calendar is managed or done by management. I have a lot of flexibility with my calendar, and it's a kind of an honor system. I'll be honest. I will never complain about my job. I have great coworkers. I have a great boss. I'm working kind of an interesting. It is definitely low visibility, but low stress. If I need to take time off, I just send an email and I take time off. Mm-hmm. I have a ton of flexibility. Could I get paid more? 1,000 times 1,000 times yes. But does the benefits outweigh the cost? Mm-hmm. And that, to me, it does. So
even though your calendar is controlled by management, but it's still, you don't get too many things thrown at you. Hey, you got to be on this meeting, and like packing up your meetings during the day so that you don't get things done.
Yeah, so there is that. So. And usually a lot of times I'm the one dictating a lot of these meetings just to get answers, resolve situations, problems. Problem solving is, I'm a babysitter / problem solver is basically what I do. Mm-hmm. Glorified. But yeah, so managing my calendar really depends on a lot of outside hours.
So you have a little bit of control in your calendar as well. So because you need the meetings to have your answers, resolved, like your questions, answered. So it means that you also dictate your calendar. It's not only management. It's not coming like from top down. Say, hey, you got to be on these 13 meetings a week or 12 meetings a week, and they go like, man, this is taking too much time. But
correct. So there is a little bit. It's a little bit of both. There are some that are management specific that, I have my weekly meetings that I have to do. I have to meet those. There's ad hoc ones where I will facilitate, or others will facilitate, that I have to go in and help resolve an issue, etc. So it's a combination of both. My calendar.
What about you, George? You control your calendar, or is it driven by customers?
I have as I said, I start really early because of the time zones, and because there are 2 hours a difference. So when it's like 9 p.m. in Brazil, 7 p.m. here. So I kind of try to finish the meetings by 7 here in Austin, 7:30. Yesterday was at 8, but I still have a lot of administrative work to do, and it's hard for me to like deal with the house, our finances, our taking care of Tamira's mom's, my mom. We kind of manage what happens in Brazil from here, so I have to divide my day. On my walls you'll see like, okay, I need to visually see how I'm evolving in 2 or 3, 4, 5 different small projects at the same time. And many times it doesn't depend only on my schedule. I have to meet whenever the client can meet, because they travel a lot. These kids are traveling to South America, Europe, United States. So sometimes in a week I can see them like 4 or 5 times, and then I spend 3 weeks without meeting them because they are playing tournaments,
because if they're playing
tournaments.
tournaments, but they're playing like in the US, right? But you still have time zones also difference in the US. Does that affect or no?
You see that I noticed, again, it's all about prepping, right? So if I tell them, hey, I always prepare the schedule with a month or 45 days in advance. So I tell them, and I have to remind the parents, I have to remind the kids, hey, if you don't cancel 24 hours before the meeting, you're going to be charged. So what happens is that I don't want that to happen. So I notice with the time that it's part of my job to anticipate, and then every single Saturday, I noticed that I was doing that on Monday mornings, but it was too late. Then I started doing it on Sundays. Then I'm going to do that on Saturday mornings. So I use my Saturday mornings to organize the whole week next week.
Okay.
So I use like 2 or 3 hours. So then I can kind of control better. Like once a week, Tamiris and I, we either go to the movies or go to the stand-up comedy or, a play. We always do something once a week. But if I don't plan like that, I know it's, my schedule will observe every single free time I have. So I kind of control it. When I need a doctor, a doctor's appointment or whatever I need, I kind of can be flexible. But I don't like to give the bad example, the bad role. Hey, I just rescheduled this. I see what happens with Tamiris corporatively. Man, I would say that 20-30% of the meetings are postponed. I can't believe that. 5% for me, 5% a week is too much. 5% of my meetings. How about you? Like, because you work more corporatively, right? Does it happen? Like you see, like people rescheduling. What is the percentage you think about that?
I think it depends person to person.
Right.
Because I know one particular manager, I put on the books, and I kid you not, about 10 different meetings. And it constantly, no, we can't meet Monday. We'll do it Wednesday. Wednesday comes along. No. Let's do Friday.
Crazy, man.
And finally, I mean, it's just like, I messaged him and I'm like, what the hell's wrong with you? What day can we talk? Because this is just bullshit. I call people out, man. But yeah, no, that does happen, and it is very infuriating. I understand one-off cases. If you're super slammed and you just throw out a day just to put it on the books, and then it's like, you know what, Monday isn't going to work. Can we do Tuesday? Okay, that's fine. But if you do it consecutively, that's when I'm just going to, I start automatically going, one, you're not taking this serious, and if you're not taking it serious, then I'm not taking it serious. So that's the type of attitude
And
that
I
ends
noticed
up
some
happening.
people, they overbook. Like they have like 2 or 3 meetings at the same time.
Yeah.
If one doesn't go through, doesn't pan out, they have another one. I can't do that. Like I'm focused and concentrated on that meeting. That's why I prep, before when I wake up in the morning, 30 minutes, I send message to everyone. Hey, you know that if you don't come today, you're not going to be reimbursed for that, right? So some of them get pissed. Parents call me and I say, policy is the 3rd time in the month. I'm sorry, but I don't do that by myself. That's my secret lately. One of my screens, I have 4 AIs, which I already have the prompt there. I never answer directly. I always go there. I already have the prompt. I say what I have to say, and I divide in 4 columns, right? Column 1, it's my message, because I don't type anymore, right? So I just speak, and then it's voice to
recognition and then
voice to text.
Transcript. Yeah.
And then it say, hey, the first column is my text. Second, it's a better version of myself. Third, I asked them, hey, can you point out my level of aggressiveness? If what I said, it was confusing, so it tells me, hey, what you said is confused here, here, and here. This is the best version. And then the 4th column is, what would my client react if I send my original message? It causes more confusion. It causes more like rework because I wasn't clear with my message.
Okay.
And I noticed that. So with this column, it takes me 1 minute to give the instruction, 3 minutes to read, 5 to learn, and then I send it. So it takes like 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
If I send
But it's very assertive.
Yes, because if I send the message directly, I know it's going to be a back and forth, and then I have to wait for 45 minutes, 3 hours, and I need the answer right away. So I noticed that when I use the AI to help me producing exactly what I wanted, because when I produced the prompt, it was the rational George. It was the guy who was, wasn't being affected by the emotion or by all other aspects. No, this is what I want to send. And man, I'll tell you, it's a habit. Because it seems like, just answer here. It's better. In my case, it's never better. It's never better. In my case, right? So I noticed that without the preparation like that, I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing now.
Yeah, that's funny. Do you want to ask?
No, go ahead.
My consolation is 0.
When somebody wants something, they're hunting you down and being like, well, when are you going to call me back? I'm excited to know what the price is. I'm excited to know what day you're coming out to do the install.
Yes.
People are excited for that.
Mm-hmm.
But not only that, because I do, I have a secret weapon. Mm-hmm. Right? George has AI. I got Dylan. Shout out Dylan, shout out.
You gotta do what you gotta do, man.
Do you know what? I rely on Dylan so much to be able to. So what I do nowadays, I just do business development, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I get confirmations from people that want to meet me. So I just send them an email. Hey, I want to meet you. So okay. So I'm going to send you an email, has my calendar link on it, and then you pick a time and then a location, and then I'll go and see you. And my calendar is set up to give me half an hour before and half an hour after. and the meetings are always 1 hour, and that's the minimum necessary for a good connection to be made, right, with somebody. And it's not even like your 100% connection, so it's a good connection, right? So I always have time to drive. I might be a minute or two late if the drive takes a little longer, but I always text and say, hey, I'm on my way, my ETA is this, and people know. And my cancellation is 0 from my side. 0. I rarely have a cancellation from somebody that wants to meet me, because they know that I'm very busy, because they look at my calendar and say, hey man, you only have time on Thursday at 1 p.m. Because I have back-to-back meetings, and I have networking events that I go to, and I'm constantly out doing something, right? So I'm a non-stop person right now. So that's why I'm saying I'm tired, because I didn't have Dylan today. I did not have him yesterday because he's on taking resolving some issues of
personal
family issues. Yeah. So, and then that's why, and it's been tiring because I'm having to do mine and his work. So I was taking care of jobs, I'm taking care of customers, I'm taking care of my meetings, and taking care of my networking. So yeah, it gets like that. But still, I could manage everything, right? It just get a little bit more hectic. But when I say my cancellation is 0, because also everybody that is, hey, please, put a time on my calendar and be sure you don't even need to confirm, I will be there. So I prep them, right? I prep them before, and then they know, because they want to connect with me, because I have a tendency of connecting people and of putting people, hey, I think I can connect you with somebody that might help your business as well.
Absolutely.
So I do that, and then so everybody really wants to talk to me, and I really want to talk to them as well, because that's the only way that I can keep this up and be able to help more people, right? And doing that, I help myself as well and help the business, and everything flows in a great way. So if somebody cancels with me, which happens very rarely, but it does happen, and then they go, I don't ghost, because I don't ghost, but I send them an email back saying, hey, have a look at my calendar and then see if you can find another time for us to meet. And sometimes when somebody cancels, and they go like, it's fine, because I have so much things to do that I can help Dylan with, that I'm not unhappy about it. It's like, oh, good, I got 1 hour back. You know what I mean? Or 2 hours, because it's half an hour to drive, 1 hour meeting, half an hour to drive back. So I'm not unhappy about it. But it's different. It's business development, and customers do not cancel, and I don't even need to confirm. So I just go, and that's it. But yeah, my line of business it's a little different, because it's not corporate America. It's a small business, and it's through relationship. So it's a little different.
I have 2 points. One is, I was going to say, kind of back to what George was talking about, freeing up a little bit of free time, having Dylan here and stuff. I want to talk about that, but I also just want to give a little shout out to you. So the other day I had my phone, I went through Facebook, and I saw the pictures of your flooring job that you did in San Marcos.
Okay.
Beautiful, by the way. And Lauren was with me, and she saw that, and she goes, Dad, can you buy that house? It is so pretty on the inside. I'm like, what does she think? I'm just made out of money, that I'm just going to buy a house because the flooring is really pretty? But she was really blown away by that. So you have,
Thank you.
Yeah, you have a 6-year-old fan who loves your hardwood floor work. So, but I was going to say,
I gotta thank Dylan for that, because he's the one that kind of puts the jobs together to be able to deliver that sort of excellency. So
well, and this kind of goes into that, because I know George was saying not having an employee is reducing the amount of opportunity for him to enjoy a little bit of free time and other things. And then talking with Hilton, he's now experiencing the effects of Dylan not being here, where everything he's wearing two hats or multiple hats, where before he only had his specific hat. So I guess my question is, I mean, obviously Dylan's not here, but do you feel like your job is, you are able to do your job better because Dylan is handling aspects of the business? And then I guess my second question is, George, would you consider, eventually hiring somebody to help you out so that you get your free time? So Hilton.
I think I'll answer first because that would help George with his answer.
Yeah.
The thing is, when I first hired Dylan, right? So of course I got now he's a business partner, by the way. So just so you know, he bought into the company. He's a business partner, and he's not an employee. So we make the same amount of money on a monthly basis, right?
Gotcha.
So, the thing is, for example, I rely on AI for marketing purposes and things like that, right? I don't have to worry too much about stress-related things because Dylan handles that. So, like jobs and canceling, and then he just goes like he taps into me. Don't know, like what is that type of fight that people? It's more like theatrical than a fight itself, or what is it?
Capoeira?
No. That people like throw people and then they jump.
Wrestling.
It's wrestling, but the other type of wrestling. That
Oops.
what is I'll put the pen.
Foreplay?
No.
It's turned very sexual all of a sudden.
Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, wrestling.
It's
WWF,
WWE.
WWE.
Yeah, it's wrestling, but it's not the.
It's not wrestling, but it is called wrestling.
Okay.
It's like,
WWE.
yeah.
So it's kind of like he taps onto me when some of our vendors are not getting back, and then he goes like, Hilton, can you call? Because if you call, they might pick up the phone. Or if you text, they might respond. And then I'm driving, and then I see a text coming through, and I hit the button, and then the car reads the message for me. So when I stop, and then I go like, okay, so traffic light, or I get to the place I'm gonna go, and then I go like, I answer, or I see what it is, and I make a phone call. Because if I'm driving, I just call. You know what I mean? I see a text, and then I call. Because I'm driving, so it's fine. So, and then he taps into me when things go like, I should have this answer, and I don't have it. So, and then he already exhausted the options. So he's really good at trying to do everything without having to reach out to me. But then every now and again he does, and then I go like, okay, I'll do that. And then I get a call or a text, and I go like, hey, I need an answer. It doesn't need to be a positive answer. It can be any answer. I just need an answer. And then they reach out, and then I go and respond to the customer or something like that. That happens more often than one would wish. It's not Dylan's fault. Do you know what I mean? It's just because people are, hey, if Hilton's calling me, that is a problem, right? But I'm not that kind of person. I'm not hard on anybody. I don't complain. I'm very understanding. And like, hey, I just need you to tell me what it is, because if I know how to work around it, and I'll help you. Do you know what I mean? And then they go like, okay. So, and then we put it all together, and then we work as a great team, and that's why he's a business partner now, because it's easy to rely on somebody that has an intelligence and the feelings behind the intelligence as well, which AI does not, unfortunately, as yet, right?
So you can collaboratively work together, but independently work together to get the job done. Dylan has his set of works.
Answering your question, before I was doing everything. It was just myself, and I was doing everything. Myself and Carol, but Carol was like sales only, and she didn't do any purchasing, anything, right? It was just sales. So Carol keeps keeps doing what she does. And now Dylan does purchasing. He does the bookkeeping. He does, some of the marketing. I do marketing as well. And so all those lately those posts that you've been seeing, it's all me doing it. When I get a little free time, and he shoots me, things, images, and he shoots me, content as well. And then I go like, oh, just gonna do these because he's really good at finding the right music, and then he also posts it on the company profile. So yeah, I mean, of course, I do my developing of the company better with Dylan. So having a person to, let's say if George had a person dealing with all the AI stuff for him, right? He would do much better at customer acquisition, right? So that's what I do now. I do customers acquisition and referral partners. So I create relationships with people in my company. I just got offered today to run a networking event. I already have mine, but another networking event that I go to and I'm elite sponsor. Hey Hilton, why don't you run a chapter of yourself? I love it because they come over here, they see 50 people, 60 people, 70 people like last Friday, and they're like, man, I want you running it, because they want to be able to profit off of what I can actually bring to the networking group, right? And then I thought I'm going to think about it. I have to run by Dylan because I can only do it if I have the support. You know what I mean? If I do not have the support, I cannot do it. So I don't do things and I don't take decisions now by myself. I rely on the team because I have to rely on the team. You know what I mean? And it's good. It's good to have somebody, to be able to kind of trade conflict information and say, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. Okay, what is the result of that? And this and that. Okay, so let's concentrate and see why don't we do it this way instead. And then we go back and forth and okay, and then we use AI, to help us with, the outcome. And yeah, it works well.
There are so many points to.
Gotta load this down so that you get a better.
Right. So there are so many points here to address. First of all, I think also the first thing is that the nature of what you work with certainly affects the way the way that the business dynamics work. I work with service, you work with products. Even though you sell dreams, even though all the experience, I understand that.
And it's product and service, but you are service.
Service. I sell
only.
hours.
It's completely different.
I sell hours, right? So this kind of has a different dynamic. Intrinsically has a different dynamic. That's the first thing. But answering your question directly, for sure, I'll have to hire someone. Now I have one market, but I'm working first of all with outside. I outsourced like the marketing, the branding process, like voice, tone, everything. All this marketing part. There'll be a partner dealing with that. There is a person developing the brand, right? So I have to work with that. So I did the heavy lifting, all the backbone. That's why I worked so hard. First, I needed to understand my business better, because I was just working and, just responding to the demand. Now I have to understand exactly what I offer. And there are a lot of trade-offs. Right? So definitely answering your question, I'm sure I'm going to have to, at certain point, hire someone, right? But by understanding my business now, I know my necessities. I know what I really want. I understand exactly what my business is. Okay? You have a question?
I have a question, yes. I know that you're very skeptical about it, But would a business coach help?
Um, I believe that it depending on how the business progress. Yes, I think I do. I have so many great people supporting me on this. So although I don't have a coach right now. I have great professionals leading me, guiding me to what I want. I think definitely the more resources you have, the more skills you have in your company, the better you can allocate, each person. Like, think about Michael Jordan, right? He could be one of the best pointing guard ever. He could be, whenever someone gave him the task, hey, you have to pass the ball. He was a triple double machine, but he was more efficient shooting. That's what he became the GOAT. So I think I want to use my time more efficiently. So definitely, in order, as I progress, as the business grow, definitely I will need more resources. I will need different skills. Then definitely maybe maybe a coach could be. Right now, it's not the time for me. Right now,
Yeah, I understand, and what I'm gonna say is, I always had somebody, not always all the time, 100% of the time, but back in the day, in the 80s, I was still young, 12, 13 years old, and my father's company had a coach that would come and talk business with all the business partners, and then also we talk to the next generation. So we always had somebody to guide us on and expand our view on businesses. So I was always prepared by somebody, right? So and then I got into business, and I only really detached into a different role once I had a coach. But it's not like you're scammer, because you have to find the right person that really has the knowledge to be able to challenge you and hold you accountable, because you're paying, and then he's not telling you what to do. He's helping you to make right decisions, right? Based on their own experiences and based on your experience. So you bring the best of yourself by having someone that has his only interest is in to make you grow, because if you don't, he doesn't get a referral. If you don't, he does not have the success. You know what I mean? So a legit person that is trying to get you to the next level, that's what I'm saying. The only thing that I say is that you gotta open up and say, I don't know everything, because we don't know everything, right? We know enough to get by, but we don't know everything. So once you're open to, hey, I think I could do better in this situation here, and I don't know how to do that. So once you say that, your mind goes into a learning mode, and a business coach will get you into that mode. So that's what I'm saying. So, and I always use business coach. I'm now off business coaching because I don't have infinite funds. So I pay, I got the knowledge, I put to the team, and then we go like, okay, so let's execute this. And so what we get, okay, so it's working. So now I go back. I need to work on this different area now, and then and then it punches it, and then like, okay, now I have to go back and do this. So I always been on and off, because you can't develop 100% of the time if you have limited resources. So it's a good thing, that maybe a mastermind group or something like that you can easily have a conversation and put things in there. I'm just saying.
It's a lot about community, right? So I
Yeah.
don't think the business. I don't think you can grow to up to a certain point. Think about in companies, right? If you are an individual contributor, there's so much you can do, so much levels you can go up. If you don't manage a team, so definitely, I need more time to do the PDCA. I need more time to reveal it. It's education with the AI has changed. The whole scenario has changed. So I have to I have to adapt to the AI, and I noticed that without the AI, you're gonna be way behind. You need to do that. But
you do have
to,
a coach though, because you have your meeting with your
my guru.
Yeah, your guru.
I have a guru,
yeah.
a pedagogic guru. Yeah,
Yeah, you have a coach. So
Yeah.
you do that for life, but you don't have
Yeah.
that for your business.
But and also you said about the AI don't feel right. So I listened to this. One of my masters in life is Isaac Asimov. Have you heard about him? The father of sci-fi.
The
The
robotics.
one who created a robot.
Yes,
The robot.
okay.
He created the word robot.
Yeah.
Right. So, and he says that in 1953, there's an interview was black and white. Right. He says, "Hey, so how do you see the future?" And he says, "Well, men are becoming more and more metal. At that time was metal, right? So that was the most advanced that we could get, and the metal was becoming more and more human. In the long term, will it matter the origin? Because like the machines in the world he's saying is sentient, right? It doesn't matter. Like 1,000 years, more and more it become metal, and more the metal become human, right? We are all organic at the end, So what I realized that with the AI, Conrad, I realized that I'm becoming way more human because of the AI. It's unbelievable, unbelievable how I'm more aware of who I am, of my mistakes, of my aggressiveness, of my directness. And I should be more careful because the machine is telling, "Hey, George, you told me to be to do this. You told me to tell you this." And the machine only cares about what I said, So it's a good thing and a bad thing because it's still me, right? It is still me.
Yeah.
It is still me. But I can tell it's a better version of me. That's what I feel.
Yeah.
And I wanted to mention, I feel like AI will help us understand what we are saying incorrectly, because like you said, can I atone this message to be more aggressive? Can I atone this message to be a little bit kinder and softer? We only say what we say on an instant reaction to what the situation is. If you ask me, what do you think of this? And I go, oh, well, that's bullshit. But if I sat there and thought and go like, well, I'm not a huge fan of it, but I have a completely different, my reactionary answer goes from aggressive to a little bit softer of an answer. So I think it's interesting to have those different viewpoints, and then also from an educational standpoint as well. A lot of times AI uses different words or different phrases than what we are accustomed to using. So it's almost like you are learning how to speak, right, or say something in different terms that might be more interesting for the person to read and go like, oh, okay, that caught my attention. They use that word. They must know what they're talking about. So let me listen to what they're having to say. And it's easier in, education-wise. It's something for you to take back and be like, I'm going to start using that in my day-to-day conversation or emails or whatever.
It's organic. You learn
Yes.
from the machine, and you teach the machine. And only one more thing, the prompts I mentioned, what I did, I used one AI to summarize two of the books I read. One is Radical Candor, which is a new version of brutal honesty, but with candor, right? And the other one is a non-violent communication from Marshall Rosenberg.
Yeah, that's a good book.
Every time I say that, I ask one AI Notebook LM to summarize the books, to create it exactly what I wanted. So I fed the GPT with all the theories, and then I say, George, what you're saying is not actually in tandem with these theories. Here is what you would say if you were 100% applying these theories. You would say this. So as I mentioned, it's only 1 minute to give the instruction, but when you have the feedback, you have to read it, and then you change a few things, but you realize, okay, I notice exactly where I'm making mistake. The next time I provide information to the AI, the next time I have to send the original text, I can see that more and more my text is getting closer to the version that I want to be. So that's why I'm saying it's a self-feeding, like I feed the machine, the machine is feeding me. And first of all, man, the texts are basically perfect because I asked to use it, the Chicago manual guide for of punctuation, of grammar. So I know I'm using the best source possible for behavior, for the writing, and for everything. So that's my message for that.
That's awesome.
Gentlemen, we need to wrap up this podcast, but scalability and business growth is what we were talking about today, and I feel like it is.
Well, it
just
starts with routine, and everything I think ties all together.
It
right?
does. It does. I was going to say we can change the title of this podcast to that because it really went off derail, but we ended up having a great conversation about business, scalability, and really just improving not only ourselves but our business and careers, especially for me, and some of the routes that we can take. So I hope you enjoyed it. Again, Conrad here. Dylan is out, but Hilton and George. So just a wealth of knowledge between the three of us. So we hope you enjoyed the podcast. Give a like,
comment,
and subscribe.
and we will see you next week.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.